Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I'm Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Where the hell am I? Well, I'll tell you exactly where I am. I'm in God's country. Now, actually, we're right outside of Walla Walla, Washington. The town's so nice, they named it twice. This is Doubleback Winery, one of the many fantastic wines that are made here in the greater Walla Walla area. Washington, we need to talk. We need to talk about a really important election coming up, and we're going to need to talk about a race that we have not had a chance to talk about yet, and it has me deeply concerned, and hopefully when you're done with this video, have you deeply concerned as well. Yeah, we spent a lot of time talking about what's happening in the governor's race and all the shenanigans that's been going on there. A lot of you know I've been very vocal in my support of Pete Serrano in the Attorney General's race, but there is a third race that we have to be really cognizant of, because if this one goes sideways, trust me, there is a way for this individual to absolutely strip you of a lot of rights. Don't believe me? She's tried it before. So today, from beautiful Walla Walla, Washington, let's spend a few minutes and let's talk about the race in Washington State that no one's talking about. Okay, before we get going too far down the road we're going down, proud to announce that this video is being brought to you by the Mantis X10 Elite. You know, we preach all the time about lawful and responsible gun ownership here. We say, hey, in order to be the lawful and responsible gun owner, you need to be competent. You need to be proficient in the use of your firearm. Do you really have all the time and money to go to the range all the time? Well, maybe that's why you should train confidently at home. Listen, you can save thousands on ammo, and you can avoid range douches like this guy right here. Did you know 94% of all shooters improve within just 20 minutes of using the Mantis X? Mantis X is used by the Marine Corps, the Army, and Special Forces. It works with any firearm. It can be used on a pistol, rifle, shotgun, even archery. You can use it at the range or you can use it at home. It installs in just seconds. It really is this simple. And once you download the app, well, then you're ready to go. And the app will drive everything. Always gets updated. You do not have to pay for a subscription. It will store all your data. It will tell you what you need to work on. It will tell you what you're getting better at. It will even allow you to put groups together and you can compare your results with all of your friends. And you know, come to think of it, it'd make a pretty cool Father's Day gift, wouldn't it? Because after all, Dad's got enough ties, doesn't he? So listen, if you're interested, go ahead and visit my friends right there at Mantis and pick up the X10 Elite. It's changed the way I'm shooting. It will change the way you shoot as well. For more information, visit my good friends at mantisx.com. Okay, so Washington, here's what we're talking about. We are talking about the race for insurance commissioner. You go, what? Insurance commissioner, what's that have to do with my inalienable Second Amendment rights? I'm going to explain that in a moment. But if you really want to know what the doomsday scenario is for anybody in Washington State that enjoys individual liberties, it's this. Okay, it is the holy trifecta of holy crap, all right? It'll be Bob Ferguson wins your governor's race, Monka Dinger wins the Attorney General's race, and then this person, Patty Curterer out of Bellevue, Washington, becomes your insurance commissioner. She is running for that position. She is currently being opposed by Washington State Senator Phil Fortunato, a huge ardent supporter of our Second Amendment rights, a Republican out of Auburn. But this Democrat out of Bellevue, well, first of all, I want you to understand that Patty Curterer has endorsed or sponsored every single gun control bill to come along in Washington State since the moment she's been in office, okay? She is the Senate's equivalent of Representative Liz Berry. But in addition to that, Washington, I want you to be really aware of a piece of legislation that she sponsored last year. It was so terrible that actually the Democrats didn't even really take it up. However, my concern is you make her the insurance commissioner and she can make this happen anyways, and it is going to absolutely, positively eviscerate your Second Amendment rights. I'm talking about Senate Bill 5963, sponsored by Patty Curterer. This would have required mandatory liability insurance for anybody who actually wanted to own a firearm. So let me explain this to you here, okay? This piece of legislation, had it been enacted into law, would have required that individuals, if they want to own, possess, or carry a firearm, have a supplemental insurance policy. In fact, the legislation specifically said that every gun owner
had to have a policy with full force and effect which covering losses or damages resulting from the accidental or unintentional discharge of the firearm, including but not limited to death or injury to persons who are not an insured person under the policy, and property damage. Now, a lot of people don't realize, but most homeowners policies, most liability policies will actually protect an accidental discharge. What they don't cover is intentional discharges, which is why most self-defense situations are not going to be covered by homeowners insurance, because the person defending themselves actually engages in an intentional act. So the goal here was to develop an insurance policy that you needed to have in order to be able to lawfully own and possess firearms, and then just make sure that no insurance company actually provided the policy. But it's worse, because Senate Bill 5963 had many more infringements on how you possess firearms, because one of the things that Senator Carter wanted is that policy, that individual supplemental policy to cover the firearms, a copy of that policy had to be stored at all times with that firearm. Let me say that again, okay? Senator Carter actually believed that she could dictate through legislation exactly how you stored your firearm and what had to be placed next to it. Now, although there was a lot of criticism early on, some of which actually came from those on the left, Senator Carter insisted and continued to say that this legislation was constitutional. And we see that often with some of these crazy pieces of gun control legislation is that the sponsors of the bills will just continuously say, well, it's constitutional because I say it's constitutional, that's why we're going to move forward with it. There is no doubt, had this legislation been passed by the state legislature, there would have been some significant constitutional challenges to it. However, and this is what I want you all to be aware of, Washington, if we make Miss Carter our insurance commissioner, what's to say that she's not going to come up with a way to do this through regulations? And if you don't believe me, ask me how many people out there would like some form of self-defense insurance coverage here in Washington State, and why at the current time only one product is available. Did you ever wonder, did you honestly think that it was the companies that didn't want to do business in Washington? Of course not. It's the state of Washington that's made it impossible for them to do business in this state. And so Senator Carter does what many other people in her party do in Washington State, which is either they just think you're all stupid, or they're just going to treat you like you are stupid. One of the worst things that can happen this November is that Senator Patty Carter becomes your Washington State Insurance Commissioner. Listen, we're going to go ahead and link up everything for Senator Phil Fortunato's campaign for that down below in the description box. So if you want to show him some love, you can do so. If you got any ideas for videos that we should be doing, go ahead and click on that link right there, because some of the best ideas we ever had weren't really our ideas. If you have any questions about this or anything else related to what's left of your Second Amendment rights, you should know how to get a hold of Washington Gun Law by now, but if you don't, that's okay. That information is down there in the description box. And then finally, let's everyone remember that part of being the lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation, how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. From beautiful Walla Walla, Washington, thanks for watching, and stay safe.